welcome to this podcast.
Hi, I'm Chloe.
Hey, I'm Damaso.
We hope you stay for a while. Today we're joined by Evelyn. Evelyn, tell us a little bit about yourself.
Hello guys, my name is Evelyn and I'm a freshman at IDEA High School and I'm glad to be a guest here.
This is just a little background info about today's topic. In the past, mental health has been a topic where parents and many other adults have shied away from due to a taboo or a certain fear surrounding the topic. As time progresses, people begin to spark a conversation around mental health. Today, we will be doing exactly that.
We will be looking at a Padlet, which we kind of posted on our social medias, and other people put their ideas, put their kind of words, maybe pictures and GIFs of what happiness looks like to them or meant to them.
So we have some images where they're saying happiness is self-love, happiness is your family, happiness is achieving your goals, happiness is peace of mind and feeling good about yourself. And happiness, of course, is self-love. And then as you can see, we have these really cool images of like happy flower dancing. We have happiness is their family with the Simpsons. Who doesn't love the Simpsons? We have the dog smiling with the wind blowing in their face. We got Starbucks. We got Yoda breaking it down, busting a move. Yeah, get it, I guess. And we got
Starbucks.
Food makes me happy. So yeah, how about y'all? What makes y'all happy? Or what makes y'all happy, or what does happiness look like to y'all?
For me, being happy just means I'm content with how I am right now and what will happen in the future, and I'm over what's happened in the past. As long as I'm not okay, but I'm just like, hey, okay, I'm good. I can do things.
Mm-hmm. What about you, Evelyn?
So happiness, in my view, is where you can be yourself and where you learn to love yourself and you grow with people around you. And it's just being happy with the people you want it to be with, and you'll have everything in life kind of a bit together. And yeah, that is what happiness is to me.
Yeah, it's a very valid answer, as all of these are.
Yes.
Go ahead,
For me, I agree with a lot what the GIF says, where you can be yourself, where it's self-love, feeling good about yourself. But also happiness for me is stability, because at the end of the day, I want to feel like I can go home and make sure that everything's okay. I don't feel like nothing's going to be pulled up under me from the rug, I want to make sure
you don't have to worry about it.
Stable. Yes. But I feel like that's a Capricorn trait that I have. But yeah, we're not going to speak on that. But yes, happiness is stability for me. Okay, so now that we're done with the Padlet, this was a great little segment to start off and a great little icebreaker to our main discussion. And so we're about to get into our main discussion. So, Damaso, would you like to ask the first question?
Sure, whatever. All right, our first question is, why is mental health important to you? For me, it's not as that, well, it is a priority. I think it should be a priority for a lot of people. It's important to me specifically because without a good stability in your mental health, it is very hard to do other things, like even enjoy stuff, because you don't have like a foundation. You can just be like a blank slate. You can't add on to what's already messed up, sort of. So that's kind of why it's important to me, because I want to do a lot of things and I can't really do those things if I'm just like sad all the time, or I'm a different negative emotion. What about you, Chloe?
To me, mental health is really important because in the past, I didn't value my mental health as much. And me being a very scholarly student and I have a lot on my plate and I have a lot of expectations to live up to, I often pushed my mental health away, and making it a priority to me is very important. And so it's I saw what it does to you when you don't make it a priority, because you're often feeling stressed. You feel like you have these emotions bottled up in you, and it's you have no way to get them out. And so it's just to me, mental health is important because I feel like everybody should feel like they get that release or have someone to talk to. What about you, Evelyn?
So mental health is very important to me because, like, if my mental health is like, for example, is like unstable, it's like there are so many limits to things that I can do, and like it's like I'm bringing myself down if I don't take care of my mental health, and which kind of like losing motivations or like having like for things that you used to like you would lose interest in them. It's like, and your attention span is just like very short and you can't focus on stuff. So like mental health is like should be your first priority, and like you should watch out for your mental health more than anything. That is why it's important to me.
Yeah, and about what Chloe said, it is very true because I kind of similar to Chloe. I have a lot of expectations on me just because I've done well in the past, and even now, well, I'm not gonna say now, but before I really kind of did ignore it because I was like, I'm fine. I don't really need to take care of myself. I'm fine. But slowly that kind of got really hard to keep up because it kind of just like, it's like it built up very slowly. So you don't notice that you were like getting worse. And that's kind of the danger of it.
And also, like, that's why a lot of like teenagers our age who do have those expectations of meeting those grade love expectations, meeting that expectation to go to college, meeting that expectation to succeed in life just in general, it causes stress upon them. And like along with stress, other mental illnesses come in play, like depression and other things like that, because teens are pushing away their feelings because they're trying to get one goal accomplished, you know? So with that, what is your relationship with mental health? So personally, like I said before, my relationship with mental health right now is pretty good because I'm learning how to manage my mental health and how to take care of myself, how to love myself. But at first, I wasn't always able to do that. Like at first, I became really insecure. And one thing that I've always been really insecure about is that like I've been bad at comparing myself to others, which I always used to do. But now it's like I'm slowly learning how to love myself and be okay with where I'm at. What about you, Damaso?
For me, I'm at a good place, you know. For me, it wasn't kind of like learning to love myself. It was more like I kind of just had to learn how to actually manage expectations because I was just like, I have to live up to them. So I just didn't do anything else. I was only that. And I don't want to be only that. No one wants to be just one-sided. So yeah, that's kind of what I have been through. What about you, Evelyn?
So with me, mental health currently is not that great. Okay, I'm gonna be honest, it's not that great because there's so many expectation lies upon me, and it's like there's tons of school works, tons of pressures from both my families and like school, which my mental health is like it's like not really good, but I'm still learning. Like there's gonna be time where I lose my motivation to do anything, and there's gonna be some day where I can pick myself up and do like the things that I used to like, because mental health is just like trying to be like happy, I guess, so other people can like see or like that I'm okay even though I'm not, which is very hard because at the end of the day it's like very exhausting. So like that's like kind of my relationship with mental health right now.
Yeah.
Yes, I definitely agree with Evelyn and Damaso because like one thing that I've noticed is when you focus so much on those expectations, you start to push away parts of your personality to become that resume, to become those expectations of what colleges want. And so like as we progress, I see that colleges, that's one thing that I've noticed, is that colleges and schools that you apply for are starting to learn that they want their students that apply to embrace the mistakes that they've made in the past and to embrace what happens in life. And so it's like, because that's a part of being a teenager, learning and embracing those mistakes and those emotions that you feel. And so I really think that's important. But on to you, Damaso, for the next question.
I just wanted to say that, that's kind of exactly what I had going on. I wasn't anything else except that. Like there was a time where I was like 2 months, I I didn't do well, so I was just like, I was like kind of like not in the best place. So I just kind of it kept getting worse. I was like, I had to kind of be like, okay, let's just not care. Let's just try again. And that kind of helped me get out of that, because I was just like nothing but bad things. But yeah, anyways, something that actually affects a lot your relationship with mental health is, do you participate in self-care? I personally, I guess, I don't really know what counts as self-care, but I guess it would be like treating yourself, which I do. Be like, I take time off, I play games, I do what I enjoy. So I guess I'd say I would.
I would have to say yes, I do participate in self-care, and my way of participating in self-care is eating, because now listen, I love food. That I feel like that's a lot of things that teens also can relate to, is that the love for food or the love for something else. Because when like school gets stressful, I have two things: I have food and I have sports. Because when all of my life, when all the pressure is building up, when everything is building up, I can go hit a volleyball, I can go bat and hit a softball, I can go do these things that help relieve my stress that's built up inside me from school, from home. And it's like I'm around other people as well, and it's like it's giving me a break from this life, this cookie cutter life that I'm supposed to have, And also food is just food. Like food tastes so good, and food is just wonderful. And so it's just like when you take a bite into that one meal, that one comfort food, it takes away all of your problems for that moment, and it's just delicious and amazing. What about you, Evelyn?
Yeah, I would say I participate in self-care. Like sometimes when I have I would say most of the times I'm trying to take care of myself right now. But it's like the way I participate is like, yes, eating too. Chloe, food is amazing, and like watching some shows, or like some anime shows or movies like Detective Conan's, Jujutsu Kaisen's, like a lot of stuff, and which has kind of helped me, because it's like, I don't know, it's very enjoyable, and it's just like it relieves my stress from school, and like it makes me not think about anything.
That's great, because like I know that you were talking about earlier how you're often stressed, you find yourself stressed about school and stuff like that, and so it's great to know that you do participate in self-care. But on to you, Damaso, what were you gonna say?
I was just gonna say, I don't know how I didn't think of food. It's like one of my main weights. I was like, oh, how did I not think of that? I think I betrayed food. yeah. I just wanted to say that.
Okay, the next question for our discussion is, do you talk about mental health in your household? So personally, in my household, I found like at the beginning, I really didn't talk about mental health to my mom. Like if I was going through something, I found that I could not confide in her, because I felt like oftentimes I was either, those feelings were going to be pushed away, because she'd be like, oh, why are you feeling like that? Or, oh, but it wouldn't be in a positive way. Oh, I'm trying to see, why are you feeling like that, so I can understand. It would be more of a, oh, like that, you shouldn't be feeling like that, you're only so young. And it's like a lot of the times I feel like parents equate youth to not being able to stress out about anything. They're like, what do you have to stress out about? When in reality, they are pushing on so many expectations to you to do such great things. And at the same time, I do appreciate that drive that they give me, and that determination that pushes me to go forward when I feel like I can't push enough. But at the same time, when I'm feeling like I can't push enough, is because they're pushing me. And so it's like, that's one big thing to me that I feel like. But as I got older, like I started talking to my mom, I was like, hey mom, we have to start talking about our mental health, because also I was noticing that my mom's human too, and she goes through those same emotions that I go through. And it's like, we have to find a free time where she's not busy, where I'm not busy, because my mom is a very busy lady, just like me, because my mom is always either taking care of my brother or doing something for other people. My mom is a very caring person, just in general. And so it's like, oftentimes we have to find a moment where we can just pause and stop everything and talk about how we feel, about what's going on in our lives, and generally, how are we taking care of our mental health? How can we take care of our mental health? And one thing that me and my mom like to indulge in together for self-care is shopping. Retail therapy is the best therapy there is, okay? So yes, what about you, Damaso?
It's kind of a yes and no answer for me. We're not like, no one in the family was like, okay, we have to talk about this. Usually how it goes, like, if we notice someone is feeling like down or something bad is happening, we will check in with each other, mostly me and my sister to each other, because our parents are kind of at work most of the time. But yeah, we kind of, if we have time and we notice that they're not feeling well, we will like check on them and talk to them and see if anything's wrong. Maybe you can help old children, so can't really do too much, but still. And I think that's kind of the gist of it, of how my family kind of talks about it. What about you, Evelyn?
For me, in my household, it's very hard to talk about mental health, because when I bring up the topic of mental health, they push everything away. It's like they start, kind of like, lecturing me, saying I shouldn't be feeling this way. You're still too young, you have so much potential in life. Like, why are you thinking about this? No, you can't feel that way. And which just puts so much pressure on me, because I hold everything in. And like, because of that we're not talking about my mental health or anything, we're not communicating with each other pretty well. Like when I try to bring up the topic, like, oh, you shouldn't, because my little sister, they pressure her too much, and I'm like, don't pressure her, that's going to ruin her mental health. And they're always like, what do you know about mental health? You're still too young. Or like, no, it's just always like they try to push it away. And I know that like, as like adults and older people, they, how would I say, their childhood wasn't as like much as we know, like, because they would learn like some certain stuff, like you should keep your emotions to yourself, or like, for example, like fathers, like they always tell them when they were young, like, boy, men shouldn't cry, you shouldn't be crying is bad, or like, talking about, mental health is like bad, which is very bad for all of us, because I would say, especially with like a lot of households, like immigrants, it's like, I feel like all of you would agree, mental health is very hard to talk to our parents. Like, even if we try, it's just like they push everything away.
That's kind of an example of kind of why we made this podcast, because as Chloe is the one who kind of made the first idea, she kind of made it because a lot of adults and people just don't take our opinions or our knowledge in general just seriously. They just like, they're kids, what do they know? We're adults, we have more experience. And while sometimes, yes, that's true, there are a lot of times where they can't relate to us because we've grown up in a different generation. It's different. But kind of sometimes they're stubborn on that.
But one thing that I would like to emphasize that you said is the part when you said about immigrants, because one thing that my mom has always made a big deal about is that my mom's a child of an immigrant. She's an immigrant herself. And so at first she found herself following these traditions where sometimes can be seeming toxic almost, because it's like, they have this idea that like emotions need to be kept away. They're so busy chasing the American dream sometimes, they don't see that it's so it's deteriorating their mental health, and it's really pressuring, like it's a lot of pressure on their children, because it's like it starts from a young age. Like, for example, when I was little, I remember like in second grade, I was worrying about college. I was worrying about what I was going to do when I got older. I was trying to figure out what I was going to do before I got to middle school. I was trying to have a solid foundation before any of that stuff happened. And so it's like, I also feel like our parents who are children of immigrants try to make the discussion more because they've been through what you've been through. And it's like, oh yeah, like also siblings as well, because siblings kind of go hand in hand. Like, for example, I know my mom's gonna do my brother like how she did me, and so it's like, if my brother ever needs someone to confide into, I will always be there. Even though I'm gonna be older, off in college, probably worried about my own stress, I have to understand that when he's young, he's gonna have stress too, But yeah, I really think that's important to talk about.
Well, the next question is, do you think it's important to talk about mental health? This is kind of the same as, well, not the same, but kind of relates to our last question. I think we can all agree that it is very important because, as kind of y'all said, it's really bad for you to bottle any and every emotion up, because when it releases, it's usually not a good thing. And when you talk about it, it's a good outlet to just like let it drain away slowly and not all in one burst. Like you're popping, like, I don't know, like a cannon.
And one way that I've always found helpful to talk about your mental health is through art. Art can help you release so much stress and so much like a heavy weight on your shoulders, because it's like when you feel like you can't talk to someone because they won't understand, like if, for example, for our audience out here, if you ever feel like your parents won't listen to you or anyone at school won't listen to you, you always have a piece of paper you can write down how you feel, and then later those emotions might get you somewhere, because it's like poetry is become very popular. Music for in general, like these are how you see how musicians get out their emotions, get out what they're feeling, get out what they're thinking. And it's like you just write it on a piece of paper, you draw something, you like, it doesn't even have to be something beautiful, like it could be literally scribbles, because that's how you're feeling inside. So it's just like art is a good way to talk about your mental health without having to say anything. If you don't know how to describe how you're feeling, draw it. If you don't know how to describe how you're feeling with vocal words, write about it. It's just like, to me, I feel like art is one form of therapy almost. I feel like they use it in therapy too, if I'm not mistaken. What about you, Evelyn?
So yes, it is very important to talk about mental health, and I agree with Chloe. Yes, like most people express it through art, poetry, literatures, and to talk like for mental health, like what I do, like when I don't have anyone to talk to, is I set myself down and just film myself talking everything out. Kind of like vlogging. This is like talking everything out. Okay, like talking what is in your mind, what is making you angry, or why is it, like what's the cause, or like it's just, or you can just write something down. Yes, in a piece of paper, just scribble, or you can read a book where it makes you, feel some type of way. It makes you how you feel right now, and you can read it out loud with like anger or with anything, like basically, which is what I do, and is very helpful. And also always remember that your friends are always there for you, and you need to talk to your friends, like, because your friends, I know my friends all love me, and I love all of them too. And you have to try to talk to them, because just bottling up everything yourself is very bad for you, which I sometimes do that, but I'm learning to open up to, some people and talking about our mental health and everything. So yeah, that is like a way to, talk about mental health.
Yeah, I think I kind of, I guess I still do. I kind of still do bottle up, because I don't release it. I'll just say like, oh, I'm fine, I'll sleep it off. I think it's working, maybe. I hope it is, but yeah. Because it's like, I'm just like, I don't know, like if it was a thing, I'd be crushing it and throwing it away. But the next question, Chloe.
Do you feel that your school talks about mental health enough? Okay, personally, we all went to the same middle school, so I'm pretty sure y'all know what school I'm talking about. But I don't want to bash our school now because it's kind of rude. But like, for me, I feel like they follow, it's the same thing with the parents. It's just the whole topic in general. Mental health is kind of pushed aside. And like, yeah, they have school assemblies and stuff like that, where mainly they focus on bullying and they focus on all these things, but they don't focus on the emotions that come with it. They don't focus on how to handle stress. And when they tell us how to handle stress, like, it's kind of pushed aside almost, because when the counselor comes to talk to us, nobody takes it seriously. Nobody takes it seriously, because when they come talk to us, everyone's laughing, everyone's talking while the counselor is talking, everyone's not taking it seriously. And then we wonder why we're so stressed, because when we're not sometimes I feel like we're not offered these resources to be able to express ourselves when our parents won't listen, or when we feel like we can't talk to anyone at home because something is going on at home. And so it's like, that's why it's so important for schools to start talking about it more, and for schools to create this discussion. And just like we have this program right here, Eagle Scholars, that's one thing that I felt like if my school don't do it, Eagle Scholars will do it, because we have mental health with me. We have these conversations. We have places where we can go to talk. And also for the viewers watching, we will have resources in the description box if you need to talk to someone. But yeah, that's it. What about you, Damaso?
Yeah, for me, as I disclosed, I don't want to bash them too hard, but I feel like they don't really do anything. Hate to be the one to say it, but like, for real, there's really, like, other than the counselors, and I mean, I don't think any student is gonna go to the counselor for their mental health. Other than them, there really isn't anything. Like, the most I think that we talk about it is probably in health class, and that's probably only because the teacher is like actually cares. Like, in the other schools, there could just be the same situation, but the teacher doesn't care. They're just like, this is your job, I have to do it. So yeah, I mean.
Yeah, I would agree. Okay, when I went to SAMHSA from 6th through 8th grade, we did not really talk about mental health, and which is what led to a lot of stuff. Because I remember during the bullying, assemblies, we all know everyone is just laughing about it, and things is funny, and it's just adults, when you tell adults oh, this person is doing this, or they're bullying me, or and it's affecting, or the teacher is affecting my mental health. I'm not trying to bash any teacher out there. It has people or the teacher is kind of putting too much stress on me. It's counselors, I'm not trying to bash on, my counselor during my middle school year, but it's really hard to talk to him about mental health, because it's I don't know about I don't know, but it's just something about them. It's they're supposed to be helping us, but it's just it's very hard to talk to them about it, which they should trying to, do anything about it. And I would agree with the master, Miss, if y'all know who I mean, the health teacher. She cares so much about our mental health, and I really love her for that. And I think her and my favorite teacher in 8th grade, my social studies, he talks about how school affects us students a lot and our mental health. And I felt like the school system don't try to understand our mental health, because they just push our feelings away, and it's just please try to consider it. Teacher gives so much assignment and everything, and they're not thinking about the consequences sometimes about mental health. Because I have friends who struggle with mental health and trying to talk to the counselor, but the counselor always push them away. So yeah, not trying to bash anyone, just saying.
Yeah, I think oh, you can go ahead.
Sorry. But what I was gonna say was, I would also agree with, when we're talking about our health teacher, she really makes an effort to connect with her students. She tells us so much of her personal life and so much of her, everything that's going on with her, so that we feel comfortable to share with her. Because I remember so many times there was moments where my classmates would break down in class because we were talking about certain topics, or my classmates would feel like they finally got that weight off their shoulders. And I even found myself crying in that class because I was talking about something that I really pushed aside. And so it's just for me to be in that class, I felt like that really helped me with my mental health. And I'm just gonna give a quick little applause to her. If she's watching this, she knows who she is. But yeah,
that's kind of what I was gonna talk about. It's kind of, because with a counselor, it's not only that you don't know them, it's they're in school, and that means it's kind of like if you were at work. it's like a serious like business environment. So it's like emotions don't belong there. And it's like why it's harder to reach them. And that's why kind of the teacher, as you guys mentioned, is so much easier because she shares with us and like she can relate to us. So she's not just a teacher, she's actually a person, you know. As for last question, I feel it's about cut there because our last question is about if mental health and how mental health affects other aspects of life. The way I think it affects it, we talked about it before, but it's mostly like with expectations. They bog you down. You know, if you don't have a stable foundation, you'll do worse at school. You'll do worse at your job, at anything you're really doing. It could also affect your social life. Like because people don't want to hang out with people if they're kind of like a downer, you know. You know those people, you don't want to be with them because it makes you feel sad and you don't want to feel like that. So it kind of pushes you away from them. And that can lead to friends, you know, like kind of fading away. And that's kind of a really serious issue if you don't take care of it. What about you, Chloe?
Mental health affects various aspects of life because it's like when your mental health is bad, like you can't do the things that you love. You find yourself not being able to do the work that you need to do. You find yourself not being able, like a lot of the times I felt like when there was a time where I felt like I was I was in a deep depression state almost. And it was like, you can't even find yourself to get up to do the things that you are supposed to do, like simple things to take care of yourself, like get up to go take a shower. All you want to do is like sleep and sit down and like watch shows and like try to push that emotion away because you have no one to talk to. And so it's like, I feel like it's very important again that we talk about this discussion because it's like, without that, our viewers almost like, if they didn't even have us to confide into and us to listen to, they would find themselves doing the same thing that we've done in the past or are doing right now before we learned to take care of our mental health, or before we started this discussion of mental health, we were doing the same thing. And so it's just like, I feel like, the discussion helps minimize the impact on that bad mental health can have on various aspects of life, you know? What about you, Evelyn?
Yeah, I would agree with both of y'all. Yes, it affects so much of your life, like, because growing up with expectations, because I know every single one of us know this, it's too much stuff, okay? Like, so much. For me, as like the oldest in this household, so like, you know, as the oldest, there's a lot of things that I still need to work on, like my social skill. Like sometimes I can be very sociable, like I can be, you know, a social butterfly, and there's that other moment where I can just literally shut myself down, you know, like not talking to anyone. And like it's kind of affected me, and then start comparing myself to other people, start comparing about how, oh, they're amazing, I'm not, I'm just, you know, this, I'm just that. And yeah, I agree with both of you. And yeah, and also it's like, if anyone needs to talk about mental health, the mental health with me is there for you. So I'm part of it, so you guys can just come and like, you know, we're gonna do some fun stuff. And if you want to talk about something, just, I'm always here. If y'all know me, just talks to me, you know.
Yeah, I do hope that conversation helped, you know, maybe some of you at least kind of realize, or maybe even, well, maybe not fix, but alleviate whatever troubles you've been having. But as of that, that's the end of our episode. I hope you guys enjoyed. Please make sure to turn on post notifications and subscribe so you never miss when we upload.
And make sure you check out the description box, like I said below, like I said earlier, because we'll have resources to continue this conversation about mental health and to help you maybe have someone to talk to if you don't have someone to talk to at home. And yeah, make sure to tune in next week where we'll talk about friendships. But yeah, until next time, remember, if you're not going to speak up, how is the world supposed to know you exist?
See ya.
Bye.